Hello, and welcome to our exclusive interview with Kim Chestney, respected intuition expert, teacher, and author, and your hands-on instructor for our upcoming Masterclass, Healing with Your Higher Power. Awaken your intuitive ability and tap into your inner healer. I'm Katherine Krupka, Executive Director of the Energy Medicine Professional Association, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to Kim today. Kim's the author of 3 leading-edge intuition books, including The Illumination Code, Radical Intuition, and The Psychic Workshop. She's founder of the Intuition Lab, a global school for cultivating intuitive ability, and she's known for her unique and really contemporary perspective on intuition as a learnable, universally accessible, and defining force for the future of humanity. Interestingly, before starting Intuition Lab, Kim worked for 2 decades as a leader in the tech sector, researching and pioneering advances in culture and founding the Create Festival. Her work has been supported by the likes of ABC News, the Shift Network, the Omega Institute, and the Edgar Cayce Center, and many others. Kim supports students all around the world with her really special system of what she calls intuition for the modern age. And she'll be sharing all of this with us at our Masterclass in April. Kim, we are so excited for you to share with us today, and I personally really can't wait to join your class.
Oh, I am so happy to be here. I'm excited to talk with you about all the fun stuff we're going to be doing.
Yay! So
Yay.
before we get on to all the little goodies about the class, I'd love to start with asking, what does intuition mean to you? It's a word we hear in a lot of different ways, from like the little gut feelings we have all the way to, psychic channeling. Talk to us a little about intuition for you and how you're awakening it with people and how you got started yourself.
Yeah, so intuition is one of the subjects that can be confusing because there are so many different ways that it shows up in our life. It's gut feelings or knowings. And so it can be confusing sometimes for people to come up with like a real clear understanding of what intuition is. So that's been part of my life's work is understanding those many manifestations of intuition and how it affects our practical life, our spiritual life, our health and well-being. And intuition is really tied into everything we do. It's sort of, you can look at it as just a complement of our intellectual mind, right? We use our intellectual mind in everything we do. Well, it's the same with intuition. So it's not something that, we have to go and sit on a mountaintop to invoke it, right? It's there. It's part of everything we do. It's just about learning to open up and get into its flow and understand the guidance that we're receiving from it on a daily basis. So so I'm excited to talk about that and how it all applies to our health and well-being and really becoming whole as human beings.
How did you get started with your own exploration of intuition, Kim?
Yeah, so I think for me, it was a really, it became a passion for me as a young person because I had sort of unexplainable experiences throughout my life with, seeing things, feeling things. I lived in a haunted house for a while, so there was, bumps in the nights, but I experienced these things and they were very real to me. So I think I was sort of came up with this curiosity and this passion for trying to understand how these things were real. How is it possible for me to know something that there should be no way for me to know, And so it led into this, when I was younger, it was just something I did for fun and I read about because I loved it, but it really sort of became my life's work. Even when I started working in technology and I started hearing really like amazing people working at like Fortune 500 companies and leading edge innovators talking about intuition all of a sudden. And I'm like, there's that word again. And it's showing up in this strange, unexpected place. So that's when I started to really craft this idea for, my second book, Radical Intuition, which really, understands how intuition is really becoming an evolutionary force in the world, in our culture, in our personal lives, in the way that we relate to our spiritual practices, all of it. Intuition's bringing this sort of new energy, and it's very much tied into quantum physics and quantum understanding as well. So there's so much to talk about this sort of new contemporary understanding of intuition.
Well, and that fits something we were just chatting about earlier with the idea of Intuition Lab and how you really are exploring the cutting edge of intuition from both a scientific and kind of a spiritual perspective. Talk to us a little bit more about what is so different with that and how how it can be helpful for people maybe all along the spectrum of intuition. Maybe if I'm just getting started, or maybe if I'm already quite advanced.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I think this kind of work is something, it doesn't matter if you have, if you're very deeply skilled in traditional concepts of intuition or if you're new to it. That was my pathway through all of this too. And when I found an intuition lab in 2017, my mission was really to bring together a group of people who were passionate about inner discovery and experiment and push things forward and understand how all this, for one, is related to quantum physics. Intuition, I believe, is a quantum phenomenon that is just our version of quantum thinking. And now that we understand that quantum physics existed, like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, people couldn't use those words. It was just, the occult and supernatural. But now that word is quantum. And we're starting to understand that this is just something we're built with. We don't have to be afraid of it. It's something that we have to claim and own. So Intuition Lab was built to experiment with new ways to push forward on this new inner frontier and claim that power and use it and put it to work in our life.
Okay, you got me all excited. Talk to us now. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So talk to us now a little bit about this class and what are we going to learn and what are we going to be able to do after the class that maybe we couldn't do before?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this program. I've never taught this before. This is the first time I've done a 3-part intensive. So I love the program that we've put together. It's really it's 3 separate days, and we're going to focus on the first day. We're going to focus on awakening your inner healer, awakening your intuition. And I look at intuition as our inner healer, because our intuition, its whole job really is to bring us back into that state of wholeness with our higher self, our true self, our authentic self. So often we stop trusting ourselves, living our truth, believing in ourselves, because we get so in our heads and full of conditioned thoughts, and we stop living by that core self. So the first thing we want to do when we really want to truly heal is to reconnect and reconnect with who we really are. So we're going to spend the first day working on the different types of intuition, attuning our body, mind, and spirit to the intuitive flow so that we can start opening up and awakening those intuitive pathways that get blocked, right? By stress, overwork, just living our lives, not paying attention, being too much in our heads, right? So it's just sort of first day is this intuition attunement that's going to get us back in the zone, get our intuition flowing, kind of jumpstart that energy and reconnect us with that healing energy inside of us. And then we're going to move on to the second day and start talking about how we apply this to healing and what that means, because the healing process comes from wholeness. And like I said, intuition's job is to bring us to wholeness. So if we really want to heal, we have to get back to that state of wholeness. And when we do that, you've heard the term purpose in the pain, possibly. And I think that's a very key concept where intuition plays this role in healing, because we know there's an energetic source to all of this stuff that we're dealing with our bodies, with our mental health, with our physical health. All of it, comes from the way that, we relate to ourselves and our energetic relationship with our deep nature. So we're going to work on working with the quantum field to go into our own psyche and release and unblock and really focus on anything that might be holding us back from that wholeness and that whole reconnection. So we have a fun workshop. We're gonna you're gonna get some. The great thing about my workshops is that you get intuitive guidance. You get to practice your intuition, but you're also going to get to receive a lot of intuitive guidance for your life. So it's really hands-on. You'll be receiving that through the practices we're doing it. You'll be receiving it through other people in the program when we work together. So it's a really great place to plug in and really start to get a vision and a pathway for your healing or for your healing practice. Because if you're a practitioner, and you also really love our last class, when we're going to do actual healing sessions, and that's what we're going to practice healing each other. We're going to work with each other and have some really great practice sessions. So if you are working with this in your business, you can kind of use your own type of intuition that you might use in your practice. Give it a try, kind of beta test your experience before you get out there into the world. So there'll be a lot of hands-on work, a lot of real intuitive receiving and giving. And I just can't wait.
Wow. Okay. So this sounds amazing. And even now it's interesting because I'm hearing, like we're beta testing. And so there's even now that sort of contemporary, tech infused kind of
It's
approach
in my brain,
approach to intuition. No, I think it's fantastic. And it really is. It's an approach with intuition that I haven't seen, and probably most of our people haven't. I think this is going to be very exciting. Um, and I also am really excited about this idea of sort of workshopping these things that we'll be learning right there in the class. That's, I think, going to be extraordinary. I did want to ask you about one other thing that I've read about for you, which are these intuitive types,
Yes.
right? And archetypes. So talk to us a little bit more about what these types are, because I understand we'll be typing ourselves during the
Yes,
class.
yes, that's
And
one of the
and
fun activities.
how's that going to play into what we're able to do with it?
Yeah, so, this circles right back to the first question you asked me when you said, what is intuition? So, when I spent 10 years actually writing Radical Intuition and researching intuition and all of the different ways it shows up in our life. And what I came to terms with was that intuition speaks to us through the four general pathways of being, which are body, mind, heart, and spirit, right? So you look at the four dimensions of human being, and our intuition uses those dimensions to talk to us and speak to us. So all of us are sort of wired in different ways in terms of some of us are heart people, some of us are head people, some of us are really grounded, physical people who are like very earthy, right? So some of us are really spiritual, some of us, sort of out there in those higher planes. So we really sort of created this system of understanding these four intuitive pathways of body, mind, heart, and spirit as these channels for your intuition. So we're going to talk about what does intuition of the body feel like, right? How are the different ways that intuition shows up in your body? There's a lot. How does it show up in your mind as your inner guidance system? It helps you make decisions. It helps you have clarity and awareness and knowingness. How does it show up in your heart? It's those like gut feelings, those callings. You have a purpose and you just know you need to go do something. You don't know why, but you just feel like you have to do it, right? So that's like an intuitive calling. And then, of course, the spiritual element and the communion with the divine and the spiritual nature is so beautiful and eloquent. So I have this great little quiz, and it's an intuition affinity test, and we're all going to take it on the first day to find out what your natural affinity is. Because we all have a little bit of all four of those sort of energies within us. It's all like the four elements: earth, air, water, and fire. It's all sort of really aligns with the Jungian system of in the Myers-Briggs and all of that stuff. It really all connects with that sort of the element of fours. And so we'll take this test and see, are you really strong in any one of these pathways? And we'll find out what your unique blend is. And so there's an archetype for each pathway. And the archetype of the body, intuition of the body, is the healer, right? So I think that's something I will expect to see a lot of healers in this group, most likely.
Yes, indeed.
Right? They're very in touch with the healing energy in their bodies and very much into energy medicine practices, holistic practices. Right? Those is a very strong group. So I'm expecting to see a lot of healers. The sage is the mind archetype, right? The sage, the wise one, the person who is our guide, our guru, a counselor, a teacher, natural sages. You see them around all the time. People are helpful and just are wayfinders for others. The archetype of the intuition of the heart, that's the visionary, the creative genius, the innovator. You see people who are out there just changing the world, activists, people who have a passion for making the world a better place and for bringing beauty and love. Even falling in love is a kind of creative intuition when we meet someone and we know they can transform us and bring out the best in us, right? There's that feeling and that longing and that heart connection. And then the final one, the fourth one, the archetype of the spirit, is the mystic, right? And that's how we use intuition to commune with our divine center and rise above this world and explore those deep frontiers of the inner dimension. So there's all kind of fascinating different ways that we can go to explore all these four different manifestations of intuition and how they show up in our life.
Ooh, there's so much there. This feels like it's going to be very, very rich. Kim,
Yes.
I'd love to just ask you if there's anything else you want to be sure our folks know before we open up registration for this amazing masterclass.
Yeah, I just want to let anyone know, no matter where you are on your awakening journey, it's something that there's no experience necessary, but there'll be something in this for everyone. It's something that's new. Like I said, I've never done this before. I've never been to any events just like this before. So it'll be a unique experience. And you'll also have the opportunity to work with my insight cards, which I created a card deck specifically for intuition development, and it's free on my website. And I'll give you guys a free healer's kit where you'll get your own deck. You can download it and practice. So it's a great tool when you're starting to work with your healing to use this card deck. So we'll be doing fun stuff too. So there's a lot of fun, very interactive. It's not just going to be me staring at a screen and lecturing everybody. This is a fun, interactive, insightful event to bring real, meaningful change into your life.
Very, very exciting. I'm definitely going to be there. And I'm going to suggest to all of our folks watching that you will join as well. This is clearly a class you are not going to want to miss. You can register right away, and we can't wait to see you there. Kim, what a treat. I can't wait. Thank you.
Thank you.